Okay, so let's start po. Okay, so last time we were able to discuss um, hello, hello, hello. Okay. So last time we were able to discuss the limits wherein we solve it using table of values, and also we were able to solve it um, using graphs. So graphically, we were able to determine whether the limit is an infinite limit, whether there is a discontinuity. Yan. Masyadong marinig. Okay, so for today, we'll discuss the different theorems, yung mga theory natin regarding limits, na mas mapapadali pag-solve natin ng limits kung alam natin yung mga theorem na yun. Kasi there are characteristics ng limits na dapat alam natin para in case that we are substituting values, right there and then, alam natin agad kung ano magiging value niya. Okay, so for this one, I just want you to know yung basis natin sa pagkuha ng limits. Okay, for example, let's have an example regarding fractions. Kasi dito mag-start siya. Since we are using rational function when we are evaluating limits, so magsimula tayo sa fraction na meron tayo. Okay, what if I have a fraction like this one? What if I am given 5/8? Is there a value for 5/8? May value po ba for 5/8? Yes or no? 5 divided by 8. Is there a value for 5 divided by 8? Anyone? May makukuha ba tayong value if the given is 5/8? Yes or no po?
Yes.
Yes, there is a value for 5/8. So what if I am given 0/7? Is there a value for 0/7?
Wala po.
Wala bang value yung 0/7?
Meron din.
Meron po.
Meron.
Meron.
And that value is
0.
0. Okay. So what if I am given naman 7/0? Is there a value for 7/0?
Wala po.
Wala po.
Sigurado bang wala? What do we call if we have 7/0?
Undefined.
Undefined po.
Undefined. Okay. So, hindi defined kung ano yung value niya. So, hindi sinabi if magkakaroon siya ng value dito or wala. But always remember that if the denominator is 0, we call that as undefined. So, what if yung numerator natin turns out to be 0 and the denominator also turns out to be 0? Is there a value for 0 over 0? Is there a value for 0 over 0? What do you think? Will there be a value if your working equation turns out to be 0 over 0? Yes or no? Will there be a value?
Wala po.
Anyone?
Undefined
Wala
din
po.
po.
Undefined din? O sabi nila, undefined. Yung iba sabi 0. Okay. Always remember that in basic calculus, starting today, when you see or when your end equation turns out to be 0 over 0, we will not anymore be calling this as undefined or 0. What we will be calling this is what we call as indeterminate. Okay, ha? Kapag yung end equation natin turns out to be 0 over 0, we will not anymore be calling it as an undefined or 0. There is a word that best describes 0 over 0, and that is indeterminate. So what? So sa tingin nyo, why indeterminate? Indeterminate kasi there is a value but we could not determine. Kaya po siya tinawag na indeterminate kasi there is an end result but we could not determine. That's why we need to look for, if it is indeterminate, we need to look for another solution. Okay ha? Tatandaan natin, if the end result is 0 over 0, we need to look for another solution or another method so that we will be able to determine the end result of a given equation for limits. Ganun lang po yung gagawin natin. Again, kapag ganito po, 0 over 7, that is 0. 0 over a number, 0. A number over 0, undefined. But in basic calculus, we call this as, pag meron po tayong undefined, ano pong tawag natin sa kanya pag basic calculus?
Indeterminate po.
Hala, guys, pag undefined, indeterminate ba? If it is undefined, we call this as DNE. Tatandaan nyo. Undefined, it does not exist. Is that clear? Again, ha? If the given is undefined, it does not exist. If the given is 0 over 0, what is that again? It is
Indeterminate.
indeterminate. Again, it is indeterminate because we are not able to come up with the end result, so that we need to look for another solution in order for us to answer the question. Okay, so let's now start our discussion with the limit theorems. Okay, so konti lang naman yung limit theorems na meron tayo. Let's start with the first one. The first one is the limit of a constant. So when we say the limit of a constant, always remember that if there is a limit without a variable, tatandaan mo ha, kung meron po tayong limit na wala siyang kasamang variable, the answer is the constant itself. Just like this one. The limit of 2 as x approaches c is equal to 2 because the constant is 2. Tandaan natin yun. The limit of negative 3.14 as x approaches c is negative 3.14. The limit of 789 as x approaches c is 789. Why? Because there is no variable involved. If there is a variable involved, therefore, if this is the limit of 2x, we will be multiplying 2 by the value of x. And since there is no variable, we will not anymore be doing that. Therefore, the limit of a constant is the constant itself. What are the other constant? Could you please give me other values or other constants that you know? Ano pa ba yung mga constants na alam nyo? Sige nga po. Ano pa po ba yung ibang alam nyo na constant? Okay, for example, the limit of e as x approaches c is equal to what? Sige nga. Is e a constant? Is e a constant? Yes or no?
Hindi po.
Hala. Is E a constant, guys? Pwede nyo bang i-type sa calculator nyo what is the value of E? E is a constant. 1.6 ata ang value nito, if I'm not mistaken, or 1.8. You could use your calculator so that you'll know that E is a constant. Makikita nyo sa calculator nyo yan. Okay? So, E is a constant. Siguro, wait. E is 2 point something, 2.7 siguro yung value niya. And it is a constant. So, tatandaan natin, may mga symbols tayo na meron siyang certain value. So, kasama siya sa mga constant na meron tayo. Just like the limit of pi. The limit of pi as x approaches c is equal to what? What is the limit of pi?
3.14.
3.14 or just pi?
14 po.
Okay. So, yun yung ilalagay agad natin doon. The limit of pi as x approaches c is equal to pi. So, ganun po. Okay. So, tatandaan natin, the limit of a constant is the constant itself. Next, the limit of x as x approaches c is equal to c. This may be taught as of the substitution law because x is simply substituted by c, just like this one. The limit of x as x approaches 9 is equal to 9. The limit of x as x approaches 0.005 is equal to 0.005. The limit of x as x approaches -10 is equal to -10. Whatever value of the variable that you have, for example, the limit of y as y approaches 1,000 is what? Sige nga po, what is the limit of y as y approaches 1,000?
1,000.
1,000. Okay? Since this is a substitution theorem, all you have to do is to substitute the value of the approaching limit to the value of the variable. Okay, next one. What is the limit of t as t approaches -100? The limit of t as t approaches -100 is
Negative 100. 100 po.
-100. What if I am given naman the limit of 3x as x approaches 5 is equal to
15 po.
15. Okay? So, ganun lang yung gagawin natin if you are given a variable and then if you are given a constant. Ganun po kasi nangyayari. If you are given a constant and a variable, pag-multiply lang po natin siya. Okay? Next theorem. So for the next theorems, assume that the limits of f and g both exist as x approaches c and that they are L and M. Okay? So, sabi yung daw gagamitin natin, wherein f of x is equal to L and g of x is equal to M. And there will be certain values for L and M. Okay, accept ko muna to. Sulat ko lang, the limit of f of x is equal to L, wherein the limit of g of x is equal to M. Both limits are approaching C. Okay, example. The limit of a multiple function. Pag sinabi natin the limit of a multiple function, tulad lang ng sinolve natin kanina. Pag sinabi natin multiple, we multiply it. No, kanina sinubstitute natin, just like the limit of 3x as x approaches 5, wherein it is a multiple of 3. Therefore, we multiply it by 3. The approaching value will be multiplied by 3. Okay? So, these are the examples. If the limit of f of x is equal to 4, then the limit of 8 times f of x is 8 times 4, which is 32. The limit of -11 times f of x is -11 times 4. Therefore, that is -44. The limit of 3/2 times f of x is equal to 3/2 times 4, which is 6. Since we cancel out 4 divided by 2, 2 times 3 is equal to 6. So that is a constant multiple theorem, just like yung ginawa natin kanina, wherein if there is a constant multiplied to a variable, all we have to do is to multiply that to the approaching value. Okay, next, the limit, the addition theorem. So sa addition theorem, magkasama na po yung addition and subtraction. It is just a simple equation wherein we add and subtract. Okay. So example natin. The limit of f of x is equal to 4. So 4 daw dito. The limit of g of x is equal to negative 5 naman daw po. So sa addition theorem, all you have to do is to add. So limit of f of x plus limit of f of g of x, 4 plus negative 5 is negative 1. 4 minus negative 5 is positive 9. Okay? So yun lang po ang meron sa addition theorem natin. Next, similar to the addition theorem, we also have multiplication theorem wherein we just multiply. Okay, multiply lang daw po ang gagawin natin dito. Again, if this is 4 and this is negative 5, so in multiplication theorem, we multiply this. So 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. So yun po ang multiplication theorem natin. Wherein sa division theorem, same concept. All we have to do is to divide. So di-divide lang naman natin siya. So therefore, L over M, 4 over negative 5 or negative 4 over 5. Okay? So yung 7 natin is the power theorem. Wherein, pag sinabi nating power theorem, there is an exponent. Sino kayo nakabukas yung mic? Okay? Wherein, in power theorem, there is an exponent. Tatandaan natin, there will be an exponent. For example, yung power theorem po kasi natin, connected siya dun sa root theorem. Tatandaan natin when we say power theorem, it is connected to root theorem or the radical theorem. Root or radical. Bakit po, sir? Okay, ganito lang po yan. So, if ever I have x raised to 3 halves, x raised to 3 halves is a power theorem. But we could rewrite this as a root equation, a radical equation. So how do we write this? Anyone? So how do we write this? X raised to 3 halves. So always remember that if a base is raised to an exponent and that exponent is a fraction, the numerator will serve as the what? Ano mangyari po dun sa numerator? It will serve as the exponent, wherein the denominator will serve as the root value. Okay, so just like this one, x raised to 1/2 is equal to square root of x. Ano mangyayari if you are given x raised to 3 halves? X raised to 3 halves, ano po mangyayari? What happens if isusulat natin yung x raised to 3 halves into a radical form? Anyone?
Square root of x raised to 3 po.
Square root of x cubed. Okay, another. What if we're given x raised to 5/3? X raised to 5/3 is equal to
Cube root of x raised to 5.
cube root of x raised to 5. Okay, what if I am given naman this one? I am given cube root of square root of x. What happens? What happens if we're given cube root of square root of x? We could rewrite this as x raised to 1/2 raised to 1/3. Okay, therefore, this is equal to x raised to 1/2. Do not add since it is an exponent. All you have to do is to multiply 1/2 times 1/3, that is 1/6. Therefore, it is now equal to 6th root of x. Is that clear? Are we clear? Is this clear?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. So, yun po ang meron tayo for the power and radical theorem. So, na-discuss na natin siya para. Okay, so, could you, ito siya. So, ito yung summary natin. Try naman natin ngayon kung paano yung application niya. Okay? Ulitin natin If the answer is 0 over a number, therefore it is 0. If the answer is a number over 0, it is undefined, or what do we call to undefined again?
DNA po, sir.
DNA. What if we're given 0 over 0?
Indeterminate po.
Indeterminate. Therefore, we need to look for another solution other than being indeterminate. Kasi may solution talaga siya. All we have to do is to look for that solution. And that solution, yun yung i-discuss natin this morning. Okay? So, limits of polynomial rational and root of a function. So, could you please, mabilisan lang? Pwede bang ibigay niyo sa akin agad yung sagot dito? Anyone? Para mabilis nating masagot for number 1. Bilis natin. So, mga 30 seconds lang per, Since, pag sinabi nating polynomial function, all we have to do is to direct substitute the approaching limit. Okay po. Okay? Yes, Alphonse, pasagot ng letter A.
Sir, yung letter A po, sagot po is 13 po. Since kapag po
Okay.
substitute po natin yung negative 2 sa values po ng x, yun po yung lalabas po.
How about for letter B? For letter B po, what is the answer for letter B? Anyone po for letter B? Okay, tatandaan natin Yung given sa letter A, that is 13. The answer is 13. For letter B po, what is your answer? Yes, Rachel.
Sir, negative 18 po.
For letter B, negative 18, do you have the same answer po?
Ay, sir, hindi po pala. Wait. Mali.
Yes, Lan.
14 po, positive 14.
Positive 14. So do you have another answer?
Sir, negative 2 po.
2 po.
The answer is
Negative 2 po.
negative 2. Okay, the correct answer is negative 2. So do you have the same answer po as negative 2? Okay. So next. What if we're now given? What if we're now given rational equation? Rational wherein we're given a ratio of the numerator and the denominator. Anong napansin niyo po dun sa given sa letter A? Sa given sa letter A, ang numerator natin, nakuha na natin sagot kanina. Tama po ba? Tama po ba nakuha natin sagot kanina dun sa numerator sa letter A? Okay, so what will be the answer now? Ano ba yung sagot natin kanina? Sagot natin dun kanina ay 13. Therefore, we divide 13 by 6x minus 1. So, that becomes negative 12 minus 1, negative 13. Therefore, what will be the answer for letter A?
Negative 1 po.
Negative 1. Okay, for letter A, negative 1. How about for letter B? Sa letter B, ang sabi natin, na-solve na ba natin yung numerator kanina sa letter B? Yes or no? Nasolve ba natin kanina yung numerator sa letter B?
No po,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. That is negative
2 po.
2. Okay, all we have to do is to solve now the denominator. So ano na po yung denominator natin dyan? So if we will be writing down negative 2 or substituting negative 2, therefore it becomes what?
2/5 po.
5 ba yung magiging answer sa baba? Anyone po?
Sir, 11 po.
The answer would be, anyone?
Negative 2/3 po. 11 po.
Negative 2 over
3 po.
3 po ba yung sagot sa denominator? Negative 2 squared is positive 4. Negative
11 po.
4,
Sir, 11
negative
po.
11.
11 po
Therefore, the
denominator.
answer is negative 2 over
11.
11. Okay. So, last one. Could you please give me the answer? Letter A, nasagot na ba natin sa letter A kanina? Alam ko, nasagot na natin sa letter A kanina. Therefore, the answer for letter A would be square root of, what is our
Square
answer
root of
for letter A?
13 po.
Square root of 13. How about for letter B? For letter B, what is the answer? Nasagot na din natin kanina yung letter B. Therefore,
Sir, square root of negative 2 over 11 po.
or it is, what is the answer for letter B? It is imaginary. Therefore, if it is imaginary, we could say that, anong masasabi natin if it is imaginary? The limit
Does not exist po.
does not exist. Okay, remember that if the limit is imaginary, we can say that the limit does not exist. I will not anymore be evaluating this one. Okay, let's continue for this one. So, nasolve na ba natin to kanina? Nasolve na natin siya, no?
Yes po.
Okay,
Opo, sir.
the answer is negative 1 for this one. Okay, how about for this one? Let's try. Try natin, ha? Okay, we are given x squared plus 2x minus 3 over x squared minus 3x plus 2, wherein the limit is approaching positive 1. All we have to do, if we are given this equation, all we have to do first is to substitute the approaching value. So all we have to do is to substitute, therefore 1, this becomes 1 squared plus 2 times 1 minus 3 over 1 squared minus 3 times 1 plus 2. What happens? 1 squared, it is 1. 2 times 1 is 2 minus 3 over 1 squared is 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3 plus 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0 over 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is, what is negative 2 plus 2?
0 po.
0 po.
0. Therefore, what is the end result? What is the end result?
Indeterminate po.
Indeterminate.
Indeterminate. Okay, indeterminate. So, therefore, if it is indeterminate, we need to look for another solution. So, kailangan nating maghanap ng ibang solution. Okay, Sir Judd, ano po ba yung mga pwede nating pamilian na solution? We call this algebra. Yung first method kasi natin would be algebraic manipulation or factoring. So, algebraic manipulation or factoring ang pwede natin gawin. Okay, so tatandaan natin, solvable naman po yung mga limits natin. Kailangan lang natin mamili ng tamang method, ng tamang paraan para ma-solve natin siya ng maayos. Okay po. So in this case, ang i-discuss natin ngayon is algebraic manipulation or factoring. So tingnan natin. Pwede ba kasi kung algebraic manipulation yung gagamitin natin, parang wala na tayo masyadong mamamanipulate. Pero yung factoring, itry natin. Okay. So, is x squared plus 2x minus 3 factorable? If it is factorable, what are the factors? So, factorable pa siya. X squared, o lagyan ng x. X squared, lagyan ng x. The factors of negative 3 would be 1 and 3. The factors of negative 3 would be 1 and 3. But since the middle term is positive and it is positive 2, 3 minus 1 is positive 2. Therefore, this is the positive 1 and this is the negative 1. Are we clear? Are x plus 3, x minus 1 the factors of x squared plus 2x minus 3?
Yes po, sir.
Yes or no? Okay. Over, since we are dealing with x squared minus 3x plus 2, let's write the parentheses to indicate that there will be factors. This is x, this is x. And since this is positive 2, this is positive 2, the factors of positive 2 would be 2 and 1. This is positive. Therefore, we could say that this could be both positives. But the sign of the factors will depend on the sign of the middle term. The sign of the middle term is negative. But since this is positive, a number could be positive if its factors are both negatives. Therefore, we write down negative here. Negative 2 plus negative 1 is negative 3. And we could say that this will be the factors of x squared minus 3x plus 2. Is that clear? Is this clear?
Yes po.
Opo.
What can we do now? What we'll be doing now is to cancel. Cancel, cancel. And our working equation now would be x plus 3 over x minus 2. And it is not yet the final answer. And since the limit is approaching 1, let's now rewrite this. Our working equation would be the limit of x plus 3 over x minus 2, wherein x is approaching 1. Substitute. This becomes 1 plus 3 over 1 minus 2, wherein 1 plus 3 is 4, and 1 minus 2 is, what is 1 minus 2? Negative 1.
Negative 1.
Therefore, the answer now is negative 4. And we could say that the limit of x squared plus 2x minus 3 all over x squared minus 3x plus 2 is negative 4. It is not anymore indeterminate. We have looked for another solution, and that solution is through factoring. And by factoring and by cancellation, we were able to come up with an answer. And that answer is negative 4. Are we clear? Naintindihan po ba yung first method natin, which is factoring? Yes or no?
Opo, sir.
Okay. So let's have another. Problem. I'll just write it na lang po. Okay, this is for number 1 or number 2. So the limit of x squared minus 5x plus 6 all over x squared minus 2x minus 3 as x approaches 3. Okay. After nito, isa na lang. Tapos, discuss na lang natin yung iba sa Wednesday. Okay? So, first step is to substitute the approaching value to the limit. Therefore, it is equal to 3 squared minus 3 times 5 plus 6 over 3 squared minus 2 times 3 minus 3. 3 squared is 9. This is negative 15 plus 6. 3 squared is 9. Negative 6 minus 3. Pero dito malalaman agad natin, what is the numerator? The numerator is 9 minus 15 plus 6. That becomes
0 po.
0 po.
0. The denominator is what?
0 po.
0 din.
Zero po.
Therefore, 0 over 0, we could say that this is
Indeterminate.
indeterminate. Therefore, we need to look for another solution. And that solution would be, let's try, factoring. Okay, so i-factor daw po natin. If we will be factoring this one, maglagay ka na agad ng parenthesis and then analyze the term. 6, x squared, x. Factors of 6 would be 3 and 2. Tama? 3 and 2. So, positive siya, pero eto negative. But since eto ay negative 5, kapag pinag-add natin yung dalawang negative, negative 3 plus negative 2, that is negative 5. Therefore, they would be both negatives. The factors would be x minus 3 and x minus 2. How about for the denominator? For the denominator, x squared, write down x, write down x. This is negative 3. The factors would be 3 and 1. Technique. Ganito lang yung technique ha. Pag nakuha mo na yung factors ng numerator, tatandaan mo, pag nakuha mo na yung factors ng numerator, tapos may nakita kang factor, meron kang ilalagay sa numerator, tandaan mo, isa dapat sa kanila ay magiging kamuka ng denominator. At since alam mo na yung isa ay 3 at isa yung 1, tingnan mo, sa taas may 3, edi dapat ito ay negative. At dahil ito ay negative, dapat ang isa dito ay positive. Since this is negative 3, hindi naman parehong negative dapat yan. Magiging positive yung last term natin. Okay, cancel out negative 3, cancel out x minus 3. Therefore, we'll now be having the limit of x minus 2 over x plus 1 as x approaches 3. Substituting 3, this becomes 3 minus 2 over 3 plus 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. 3 plus 1 is 1/4. Therefore, we could say that it is not anymore indeterminate. Therefore, the answer for this limit is 1 over 4. Is this clear? Is this clear?
Opo, sir. Opo, sir.
Okay. So, not all the time, ganito. Tandaan natin ha, not all the time, ganito. So, let's have our last example. So, the limit of x cubed plus 2x squared plus x over 2x squared minus x minus 3 as x approaches negative 1. I want you to answer this one. Okay? Yes, John Ver.
Sir, excuse me po. Si Ma'am Rosel po kasi nag-send na po ng link po.
Okay lang. So, last naman na natin na example ko.
Okay po, sir.
Okay, what is your answer? Anyone po?
Sir, -1 po ba yung x approaches? -1 po yun? Hindi po kasi
Yes
gano'ng
po.
kita. Okay po,
X
sir.
approaches -1. Okay, let's try to answer na po. So for this one, since this is x cubed and the last term is x and all the terms, meron siyang x, all we have to do is to factor out the common term and that common term is x. Therefore, it becomes x times x squared plus 2x plus 1. And the denominator, since we are given here 2x squared minus x minus 3, 2x squared. Therefore, yung isa x, yung isa 2x. Yun yung magiging factor niya. At yung isa, if it is 2x, therefore this becomes 2x minus 3. At yung isa naman po ay magiging x plus 1. For the numerator, the factors of x squared plus 2x, x squared plus 2x would be x plus 1 times x plus 1. Okay, over x plus 1 times 2x minus 3. Cancel x plus 1, cancel x plus 1. And it is now equal to x times x plus 1 over 2x minus 3, wherein x is approaching -1. It is now equal to -1 times -1 plus 1 is 0. 2 times -1 is -2. -2 minus 3 is -5. But since the denominator is 0, it becomes 0 over -5 or 0 over 5 kung aayusin natin tong -1 over -5, whatever that is. But since the numerator is 0, therefore we could say that it is equal to 0. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Are we clear po?
Opo, sir.